Buy Bitcoin.
I say when we
You can
sell.
wake up every morning and say GM.
GM. GM. All right. Monday morning. Let's go. So, as I mentioned last night, I think that for BTC, you're looking at something like this. We'll look through a couple of these paths in a second. And more so, this. If it's unable to break below or above the 50 and the 100, I think it'll stay in between them. So we didn't get a dip down quite as low as I had wanted. So we're stuck now, just still consolidating in this area. And really not much matters until it reclaims the 98, 100 level. Even at that point, it's still just chop. But if it does end up going from here, if we do end up clearing above, so you can see here, the squeeze up Sunday night happened sort of with a sweep lower and a push on Monday morning. If we reject, I expect it to do something like that. If not, then it needs to reclaim and hold and put in a low as a higher low somewhere later on. I think there'll be some form of higher low, some next form of higher low that comes in anywhere within this sort of February area, as we're now about 10 days, 8 days after. No, it's exactly a week. It's Monday after the big flush, the big leverage liquidation. So that's about right in terms of a retest. And if you look at across the market, Solana came all the way down for its retest. Now it doesn't look ready for higher. It actually is more, I would say, set to base. It looks like it's more set to consolidate than anything, because you got that 210 above, which was the March previous highs. I think you might see something a bit more like this for Sol for the next few days, which is just sideways before it picks a direction either up or down. And if that happens for Sol, then probably same thing for Ethereum. A lot of these are oversold. Short-term big rallies. I mean, even on ETH, you can easily see a big squeeze to take out all of these stops, as ETH is just pretty much gone down only. 1, 2, 3. Then there's a sweep, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you've got 6 or 7 days worth of stops to sweep there if there was a push. But overall, I don't read too much into this early Bitcoin move. A little bit of volatility around the weekly open. Dip down, push back up. I still think that you want to get some extreme like this. Wait for some kind of extreme. So I'd set up a long. I posted about it in the trade journal. That's still sitting there as an order. I still think if we make it towards those lows, there's a trade up to the highs. Obviously, the expectation was that off the Sunday evening, going into Monday open, we might see that volatility. But you don't always get what you want, do you? There. I did mention, of course, that we've been blessed with high volatility in the last several weekends, so it's not a surprise to see volatility be lower. It's never really a surprise to see lower volatility, because it's like the opposite of what every trader needs. So, in either case, I would still stick with this, meaning a move either side, whether it's from here, a move down into that level. I could see that getting bought up. Or, if you're lucky, and you get an extreme move to take out the lows. But beyond that, I think at this point, you're looking at something for either this liquidity above, number one, if it can push higher, or right up to the highs. Those would be both two areas that I'd be watching for reactions at. Seems to be forming very slow, rounded bottom. And, I mean, really can't read too much into it. I'm still of the opinion this is not not yet time for BTC to make anything more than just a nice run to 98. Beyond 98, we can definitely see a significant rally, but would require first closing above the 50, then closing above Friday's high. Once you get to that point and you're touching that 100 again, I think next reclaim of 100 can give a move towards 104, 106, 107, because there's so many just from a liquidity perspective, even within the range. So we topped out on the 20th, we bottomed out on the 3rd, basically 2 weeks apart. So it took 2 weeks to move down. It's been a week in consolidation. And you have all of this 107 and 107. There's equal highs. You've got 106. You've got some daily highs, Thursday high. You've got the high of last week, Monday. Lots of liquidity to target, especially if momentum starts to build. You could see another one of these fast moves where it happens quick, tags all the stops, and rips through. And I think that is it. I'm going to go and get on the slopes. Well, I'm not going to get on the slopes yet. I'm going to do trade of the day. Then I'm going to get on the slopes. And as for today's streams, I don't know exactly what time I'll be able to do the streams at. So I'll let you know. But it'll be Ask Michael, Mentorship Monday, normal Monday streams, as usual. It'll be whenever I'm back. Just saw this tag. Speculators amass the largest ETH short position ever. Traders are betting heavily against Ethereum. Do you think this bearish sentiment is justified? Yeah, it's not really how exactly it works. It is true, Nico. It's not exactly, though, how it works with the CME. It's not saying that they're directionally short. They may be playing a basis trade. They might be long the long spot, short futures. They may be long the ETH ETF, buying the ETH ETF and short the futures. But there are a lot of traders who are long Bitcoin, short ETH. That is a very real trade that people are doing in size, as it has been literally the best trade to take, ETH BTC. So if you've been long Bitcoin, short ETH for the last, let's just call it year, since the start of 2024, even just since then, you're up 50%. Well, it's down 50%, sorry, so you should inverse that. So, yeah, if you're long Bitcoin, short ETH, you're absolutely printing. And why would people do that? Because most people don't, like, especially larger players that aren't crypto native, they don't want to just have directional exposure where they're only long. So if you're long Bitcoin, short ETH, if Bitcoin goes up, you tend to do well. And sometimes if ETH goes up more, then, you know, like in some of these bounces, you do briefly lose. But as soon as the market turns over, Bitcoin tends to outperform and so on. Anyway, you get the point. It's a trend. That's what a lot of that short is. The short leg of the ETH BTC trade is a short ETH, long Bitcoin trade. And eventually, that trade will end with a massive squeeze, because that is building and building and building. But you can't look at it and say, like, I remember people saying again, oh, look, ETH open interest is at all-time highs right before the crash, as if this is somehow a good thing, that the ETH open interest was at all-time highs yet again over here, right? Significant all-time highs. And then on coin, if you look at it by coins, which is the most accurate of actual positions, it reached another high again right before that crash. So it just, even from here, it kept rising to new highs and then massive flush. And it's like, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But when that turns around, it can definitely be a big squeeze. And that's that. GM, Monday update. What do I expect? Probably, I would say, watch Bitcoin at 98.1, 98.5 area. That's the area for it to reject or flip. If it rejects that, it's back to the lows, to 94, 95. And if it flips 98.5, you're looking for 100 GM.